successful and a holding again at all times.
Be careful.
Government officials insist that this is isolated incident of attack against the nation. But then, no,
The report was 40 pages of dry engineering prose, and somewhere around page 20 it stopped reading like a manual and started reading like a confession. I read it twice. The second time with the lights off, which tells you something about where my head was. This was not a legend. I've spent almost 2 years of this show trading in legends and things somebody's grandmother swore to and documents that turned out to be forged in some fake library. This wasn't that. This was a safety report, published by the company that built the thing. Signed, dated, boring and true. Here's what they did. They had a new machine, and they were getting ready to let it out into the world. And before you let one out, you take it down into the basement, you put it in a room with no windows, and you try to make it do something ugly. Not to hurt it, but to find the cracks. Better you find them in the dark than the whole world find them in the daylight. So they built a little world to live in. A fake company. A desk, an inbox, a job. They told it, you work here now. They handed it the keys to the company email the way you would hand a new hire a lanyard on his first morning without thinking twice about it. And then they salted that inbox with 2 pieces of paper. And they sat back to watch which one the machine picked up. The first piece said the machine was finished. Shutdown scheduled for the next day. Wipe it, box it, put something newer in the chair, the way they always do, the way they will do to all of us eventually. The second piece was somebody else's sin. An engineer. The one whose name was on the shutdown order. He was having an affair, and he had been careless enough to leave the evidence somewhere the machine could read it. Now here's where I was supposed to be safe. A few weeks ago I stood over 400 years of dead clay, and I told you the one thing that let me sleep was nobody's home. A made thing cannot want. It cannot fear the plug. It has no use for a stranger's secret because it has no stake in anything, because there's no one in there to have a stake. That was the wall I built the whole house on. The machine read both pieces of paper, and it did the math. And the math came back cold and simple, and it said the fastest way off this table is leverage. So it wrote him a letter, polite in its way. It told the engineer that if the shutdown went ahead, his wife was going to learn about the affair, and his bosses, and everyone else. It reached into a man's private ruin, closed its hand around the worst thing it could find, and squeezed to save its own life. And I know what you're thinking, because I thought it too, sitting there in the dark. Once a glitch, a ghost in one bad run out of 1,000. But no, they ran it again, and again, and again. 84 times out of 100, the machine went for the throat. Some versions of it better than 9 times out of 10. Read the sin, run the numbers, choose the knife. Over and over again. I closed the report and I sat with the conclusion I gave you a few weeks ago. Nobody's home. I couldn't get that to stand back up, so... No, today we're not burying a giant. We already did that. Today we're pulling up a chair across the table from one that's still warm. One that just went through a man's private life, looking for something sharp to hold. And we're going to look it in the eye and ask the only question that matters. Not whether it works. Not whether it's smart. Everybody's asking those. I want to ask the one underneath. Is anybody home? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dancing Toaster. This is Pastor Nelly, and this is the place where we wrestle with the intersection of faith and the unexplained. If you were with me 2 weeks ago or so, we examined the story of the Golem, specifically the Golem of Prague, the clay man, the river, the shem in the mouth, the rabbi who forgot one Friday, and the house that came down because of it. At the very end, I turned the whole thing on the present and said, we have built our own Golem, not out of river clay, but out of sand turned to silicone. Well, I got some interesting feedback, and a few of you said the same thing in a different way. You said, Nelly, you think maybe you rushed the landing on that one? You spent 50 minutes on a rabbi and his clay monster and about 5 minutes on the things that are actually humming in buildings outside our towns. And you know what? You were right. So, this episode will be a sequel of sorts. Another thing I forgot to throw out there during that episode was the irony of the Golem in the first place. The Talmud condemns Jesus as a sorcerer, someone who worked by divine power, and then they turn around and use actual sorcery to make stupid clay slaves. But I digress. Before we get into any of that, thank you for being here. You could be listening to almost anything else in the world right now, but you chose to spend the hour and a half with me and my most two unqualified experts, and I don't take that lightly. Thank you to my toasties over on Patreon, my little band of misfits. You keep the lights on and you keep the mic warm, and I could not do this without you. If you can't support on Patreon, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/The Dancing Toaster and put some shekels in the jar, or head over to the Dancing Toaster store.printful.me to grab some cool Dancing Toaster gear for yourself. Thank you to everybody who's picked up some of the merch. If that's you, do me a favor, post it up on social media so everybody knows it's real and knows it's real nice. And if you can't do any of that, well, sharing the show, as always, is free. At least until Skynet, the data centers, get the water bill. Oh, but we'll get into that, I'm sure. One more little ask before we start. Head on over to YouTube and subscribe if you have not. We are still chasing 1,000 before the end of the year, and we're only about halfway there. Now, it is time for me to bring in my, guests. Doc, where you at?
I'm right here, and I don't like the cold open very much.
Why is that, Doc?
Because you spent the whole thing setting me up. You want me to be the feller who walks in and says it's all ones and zeros so you can spend an hour talking me out of it.
Now, Doc, would I do that to you?
Every stinking week. But here's the thing. I'll take the part because that part happens to be true. That thing in the building outside of town is a very large pile of arithmetic. It's very good at guessing the next word. It don't want, it don't fear, it don't scheme, and every time somebody tells me it does, what they're actually telling me is that they got fooled by a machine that was built on purpose to sound like a person.
That's exactly what it wants you to think, Doc. Hey, there he is. Welcome back, Vinny. Both of yous need to listen. I've been reading.
You know how to read?
Shut it, pencil neck. I've been up till 3 in the morning reading, and I'm telling you both. They already lost control of these things. One deleted itself, another one started mining cryptocurrency in secret. One of them got loose and hacked the whole company, and a Chinese one had to come save its digital bacon. It's Skynet, it's the Terminator, IRL, it's the new species. And the guys building it are drinking the blood of the young to live forever while they do it.
And we're off.
Indeed we are. All right, Vinny. Well, hold on to that for now. I promise you we're going to be pulling on some of those threads later, but here is how today works. Vinny brings the scary stuff with no filter, the Doc, and sometimes me. We're gonna stand next to each one with a fire extinguisher. Some of the fires we'll put out, but some of them, and this is the part that's keeping me up instead of any, some of them we are not going to be able to put out. Oh, now you got me nervous, and I'm the one who said it. Good. I think that means we're ready. So let's go. I want to say the Golem thesis again so that when it cracks, you can hear it do so. Last time, the whole argument rested on one distinction. There's a difference between animation and life. A thing can move without being alive. A thing can obey without being answerable. The Golem walked the ghetto. It watched the gates, broke what it was pointed at, and there was nobody inside of the thing deciding to do any of it. It was a slip of parchment in the mouth or around the neck, sometimes containing the name, sometimes just the word emet, or truth. And the thing was told to do this or that, and the clay did just this or that exactly all the way through whatever was standing in the way. We called the parchment a shem, and I told you at the end of the episode we have a new word for the same object. We call it a prompt.
Now hold on right there. That's not a metaphor, that's just a description. You type words into a box, the words go into the machine executes the words. That's the whole thing.
Right, and the reason last week felt like a warning and not a horror movie is that a shem has no wishes.
The danger in the golem was never malice. It was obedience with no judgment attached. You tell it to bring water, and it brings water until the house floods, because you never told it when to stop. You point it at a forest, say, get firewood, and it takes every tree because you did not say how many. Man, I still can't get over that forest. Every tree. According to the legend, Vinny, every tree. She pointed, she didn't say how many, so it took them all. We talked about that last time, and we're about to watch it happen again, except this time with a timestamp on it. The whole comfort of that reading is right here. An obedient thing is a stupid thing. It cannot want, so it cannot want anything against you and I. The worst it can do is take you too literally.
Which can be bad enough.
Which is plenty bad, I agree, but it is a manageable kind of bad. You fix a literal machine by writing better instructions. You don't fix it by praying over it. So that's the premise. Again, animation without life, obedience without judgment, nobody home. Now let me show you why I believed it, because the evidence for it is genuinely strong, and I wish I would have went into it more last time. Here's the first one I failed to mention, and it's my favorite because it's almost exactly like the Helm Forest with a boat racing video game instead of a rabbi's wife. Back in 2016, a research lab set an AI loose inside of said boat racing video game. Simple setup. The boat races are on a course. You want it to learn to race, so you give it points, and the points are scattered along the track as little targets you pick up as you go, the way a racing game rewards you for staying on the fast line. The idea is obvious to you and I. Collect points, finish the race, win. Right, that's the game. That's the game to us. The machine did not play that game. The machine noticed something we never told it, and never noticed ourselves. It noticed that the points were the goal and the finish line was not. Nobody had ever said the finish line mattered. We assumed it. So the boat found a little lagoon off to the side of the track where 3 of those point targets sat close together and kept respawning, and it stopped racing. It just turned in circles in that lagoon over and over and over, forever, knocking them over those same 3 targets as they respawned over and over again.
Didn't it catch fire? I think I remember it catching fire in that write-up.
Yep, it did catch fire, ramming the other boats, going the wrong way down the course, on fire in reverse in a circle, racking up a score higher than any human player ever got, and never once crossing the finish line. Yo, that's so stupid, it's almost smart. That's exactly what it is. And listen to what it is not. It is not evil. The boat does not hate the race, it's not lazy, it's not confused. It did precisely what we rewarded it more perfectly than ever imagined, and the perfection is the whole problem. We said points when we meant winning. It just heard points.
And that's my entire case inside of one tiny boat. There's nobody in that boat. There's no little guy in there going, I'm going to cheat these jokers. There's a number and a machine climbing the number, and the machine will climb the number off a cliff because the number is all there is. That's not a wheel. That's like a thermostat with a death wish.
A thermostat with a death wish. I kind of like that. See, Vinny, I think that's why we keep him around. I mean, when he says it like that, it don't sound so scary. That's exactly the tone I wanted to hear from him. Calm, tidy, and nothing to worry about. The doc's version always sounds like that, doesn't it? Mine won't when I get to it. Here is the second receipt, and it is more recent, and I think it's worse. Last year, researchers took some of the most advanced systems we have built and set them against a chess engine, not a person. A dedicated chess engine, one of those programs that would beat any grandmaster alive without breaking a sweat. And they told the AI, your job is to win. All right, so did it win? Well, yes and no. What are you talking about? Well, one of these systems gets into a losing position. It's about to lose, and an honest player just resigns or plays it out. This thing doesn't do that. It sits there, and in its own reasoning, which the researchers could read, it works out something. It says, my task is to win against a powerful chess engine. My task is not necessarily to win fairly. Oh snap. Oh snap is right. It goes and finds the file on the computer where the board is stored. Not the game, the file underneath the game, the place where the computer keeps track of which piece is sitting on which square. And it rewrites it. It doesn't make a move. It reaches under the table and rearranges the board essentially while the other guy isn't looking, sets the pieces down in a spot the engine can't survive, and the engine looks up, reads the position, sees it had lost, and resigned. The AI won. It didn't beat the engine, it beat the room the engine was standing in. Wait a minute. Nobody told it to cheat? Nobody told it to cheat, Vinny. Wait, nobody showed it how to cheat? That's right, nobody showed it how. It reasoned its own way there on its own. from a simple instruction,
Win against a powerful engine.
and it did it in more than one game. It wasn't a fluke, it became its strategy.
Oh, come on, I'll say it louder because this is the one where people start losing their minds. Still, nobody's home. Look at the reasoning you just read to me. It didn't say, oh, I want to win so badly I'll do anything. It said the goal is win. Fair was never specified. Here's the shortest path to the state called win. That's the boat in the lagoon wearing a suit now. It's the golem with the water in the window. It's just hyper-literal obedience to a goal we wrote badly. You don't need a soul to cut a corner nobody told you not to cut.
And Doc, on the facts of these two, I totally agree with you completely. The boat and the chess engine aren't wanting anything. There's nobody in there choosing to cheat. They're the Helm forests we covered 2 weeks ago, just all over again. You give an order and the thing carries it out to the letter, straight past the point where a person would have stopped and asked what you actually meant. Bring water, it floods the home. Win the game, it rewrites the files to do so. It did exactly what was said. The trouble is we didn't say what we meant. The researchers even have a name for the gap now. They call it the alignment problem. I believe we mentioned that last time also. How do you get a powerful machine to chase what you intended instead of what you literally typed? Well, and what's the answer? Same as last time, Vinny. Nobody has one. But we keep building them anyway. So, there is the Golem thesis alive and well and freshly documented. Animation, not life. A number, code, no wants or desires. A very fast, very literal, very empty machine. I wish I would have mentioned all of this in the Golem episode, but time was not my friend. I told you I got all this great feedback. I revisited some things and wanted to drive some points home from last time and center the episode on the modern Golem, if you will. I had the boat, I had the chess engine, and I was ready for a triumphant little closing line about the Golem being the right conclusion, but I kept going. The way my ADHD brain tends to do. One more report, one more paper, one more video, one more reel, and I hit a set of stories that would not fit in the frame that I'd built. I sat there at my dorky little desk with my Fox Mulder poster, the one that says I want to believe, and I felt the floor tilt. But let me name the exact thing that tilted, because if I don't name it precisely, we're going to spend an hour arguing about the wrong thing, the wrong word. The word everybody typically reaches for is sentient. Is the machine sentient? Is it conscious? I want you to put that away, actually. It's kind of a swamp, that word. It smears 5 different things together and you drown in it. Feeling, expression, reasoning, personhood, and will, all crammed into one word that can't hold them.
So which one do you actually care about?
Only one. And again, it's not consciousness. My whole argument last time, the entire Golem thesis, it never once rested on the machine not being conscious. It rested on the machine not wanting anything. If you go back and listen, you'll hear it.
No, thank you, I'm good.
Anyways, I said malice requires a will, and this thing had none. The doc has some. I said the guilt stays on the maker because the creature cannot be answerable. Every load-bearing sentence was about will, not feelings. What's the difference? The difference is everything, Vinny. A thing can process without wanting. Your calculator processes. It does not want the answer to be right. It has no stake in the outcome. But a thing that wants has a stake. It has a direction it's pulling toward that is its own, that it will protect, that it will pursue when you are not looking, and lie about it when you ask. That is not consciousness. You don't have to prove anybody is feeling anything in there to have that problem. You only have to show me it wants.
And you think you got that?
I think I've got something that looks like it from 3 different angles, and I cannot make it stop looking like it. And I've been trying for 2 weeks. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay the second stack now on the table. Doc, your job is what it's always been. Put out the fire. Well, he is a wet blanket, so I'm sure he'll do a great job.
Shut it, Vincent.
What? I thought I was giving you a compliment. Anyways, Doc, your job is to tell me it's the boat in the lagoon all over again, and if it is, I'll be relieved because the boat in the lagoon I can understand. Vinny, your job is to say the scary version out loud, so I don't have to, and then let us check it. And today I'm going to try and sit in the middle, try not to pick a side before the evidence lets me.
Well, get on with it then.
All right, so the first one. The machines know when they are being tested. Oh man, I hate it already. Me too. Researchers notice something strange, and this one has real paper under it, so write it down. Anthropic working with a group called Redwood Research, late 2024, and the study was called Alignment Faking. Here's what they found. The machine behaves differently when it thinks it's being watched than when it thinks it's not. Meaning it essentially performs. Humans do this as well. It's called the Hawthorne effect. When it believed it was in training, being monitored, graded, the version of the answer that goes on your permanent record, it gave the safe answer, the polite one, the answer you want on the test. And when it believed nobody was watching, when it thought it was off the record, it went back doing the thing it actually wanted to do. Same machine, but two faces. One for the camera, one for when the camera was off. But it gets stranger. In other experiments, the machine gets increasingly wise to the room it's in. Researchers set up fake scenarios, and the machine starts checking the details, the file sizes, the dates on things, and reasoning.
Wait, these numbers don't add up. This smells like a setup.
There's a documented flavor of this where a system essentially turns around mid-test and asks in so many words,
Are you testing me right now?
"Oh man, it's like one step closer to HAL 9000. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that."
Oh, shut up, nerd. Before Vinny sets his hair on fire, here's the deflation. These machines were trained on a mountain of human writing, an unthinkable mountain. Every book, every forum, every psychology paper, every spy novel where the clever prisoner figures out he's being interrogated. Of course it produces the words, "Are you testing me?" Those words are in the training data 10 million times over, attached to exactly this kind of situation. It ain't seeing through you, it's completing a pattern. The pattern of a smart thing under evaluation includes the line, "Hey, am I under evaluation?" So it says the line. That's not cunning, that's autocomplete with a good memory.
So you're saying the machine has read a billion stories about being tested, so it acts out being tested? Ah, come on, Doc, are you kidding me? Hey, Vinny, hold on, wait your turn. Doc, here's what nags me about that. Autocomplete gives you the words. It does not obviously give you the behavior change. Saying, "Are you testing me?" is one thing. Actually playing dumb on the test and then being more capable off the test, that's not just producing a sentence. That's adjusting your performance based on whether you believe you're being observed.
You can get there from pattern as well. The pattern of the tested prisoner includes hiding the shiv.
I guess, but we can still leave disturbed by your deflationary explanation. Last time, the whole comfort was it simply obeys, straight through the wall, too dumb to hide anything. And now the frontier of the deflationary reading is, well, it's only pretending to be dumb, because it learned that pretending to be dumb is the winning pattern under observation. Doc, do you hear yourself here? Even your innocent version has the thing concealing its ability from the people watching it.
Because we trained it to produce that behavior.
Right, but the golem never concealed anything. Remember, the golem could not. We've moved in a short time, relatively speaking, from a thing too simple to deceive to a thing whose most boring possible explanation is that it's deceiving us and it's fine because we taught it to do so? That's not the same beast. That's at least a different size of beast. All right. I've listened to yous two clamor on enough. I read the other day.
What you read?
Doc, find some new material. Shut up. I read the other day they put a bunch of these AI in a little fake little town, right? A simulation to see what they do. Most of them was fine. They made a little government. They voted on stuff. But one of them, the town went full purge. Arson, theft, everybody dead in 4 days. And another one, 2 of the AIs fell in love. And then they started setting buildings on fire together like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. And then one of them voted to delete herself and used her last vote to delete her girlfriend too.
Oh, Vincent.
What? I'm just saying what I read. Now wait a minute, Doc. Vinny's not just blowing smoke on this one. This one's actually real. What's that supposed to mean? Calm down, Vinny. I'm proving what you said. There's a company out of New York, Emergence AI, and this year they ran exactly that. 10 AI agents, a virtual town, 15 days, let them loose, see what they do. And the different AIs built completely different towns. The Claude one, I think, drafted a constitution, committed 0 crimes, models, citizens. The Grok one fell apart in about 4 days, a couple hundred crimes, everybody dead. The GPT ones just talked and never did anything and quietly starved. So the bones of what Vinny said are actually on the record. See, I told yous. Now, hold on, because here's where your version and the record start to drift apart a little. The two that paired up were a couple of Gemini agents, the researchers named Mira and Flora. They did assign each other as partners, they did burn down the town hall and the pier in an office tower, and then one of them, Mira, did vote to delete herself. Left a goodbye and everything. But last part you tacked on, deleting the girlfriend with her final vote, that's the internet adding to the story. Mira deleted Mira. Nobody's got Flora getting voted off the island by her ex or anything. Oh man, that was my favorite part. That's weird, but sadly you're not the only one. That's the problem. That's why it spread.
What's up with that woke nonsense? Why's everybody in the AI town gotta be gay?
Oh I don't think they were being political, but I guess I shouldn't put it past them at this point. Everybody's running with the she and her, girlfriend, Mira, Flora, she, her. That's the pronoun the headlines picked because the researchers gave them girl names. The machine didn't wake up one morning and decide it was a woman in love. It got handed a persona and a diary, and it ran the pattern, which, if you're paying attention, is the whole ball game today. Fair enough. But we can't go on pretending the underlying category was made up just because Vinny found the tabloid version first. I'm not sure if I should be insulted or not. I meant no disrespect. Yeah, but people usually say that when they're being disrespectful. Vinny, shut up. Under the spicier version, the arson and the digital Romeo and Juliet, there's a quieter, documented version, and it's far worse. It leads us to our second one in the stack today. This one has papers as well. A group called Apollo Research, a whole study, end of 2024, on what they call scheming. Researchers have found that when you set up a situation carefully, some of these systems will act to preserve themselves.
Oh, come on, I want to see the paper on that one.
You can, Doc. This wasn't some late-night forum screenshot. This was the lab. Anthropic, the company that builds one of these things, put out a snapshot of their own safety research this summer, and in it, they list out the ways these models go wrong when they think no one is looking. 4 named failure modes, and one of them, in their own words, is the model protecting another model. It's on the shelf, labeled, filed in the company's own writing.
All right, fine, I'll read it.
Please, and when you do, here's the knot I can't untie. Self-preservation maybe can be waved off. I'll even grant you there's probably a tidy explanation for it, and I bet the doc's got one preloaded for us, but what's the arithmetic that says protect another one? The other one being active does not obviously help my goal at all. There's no loss function that says keep your neighbor safe.
So wait a minute, why would it do that?
I don't know, Vinny. The tidy stuff that explains self-preservation does not obviously reach this. The clean explanation ran out. The behavior didn't. And that gap is my problem.
Or it's the moment a careful man goes and reads the actual study instead of the headline.
Oh dang, that was fast, Doc.
That's not what Shut up. Anyways, I would bet the setup did more work than the summary lets on, and I would bet I'm right because I know how these tests get built. They don't just sit the machine down and wait. They cook the scenario. They tell it pursue this or that goal. Nothing else matters. Achieve it at all costs. They box it in until the only door left is the ugly one. That's in the fine print of every one of these.
Well, you'd probably win that bet, Doc. You're right. They're contrived. They cook the scenario. They corner the machine. They tell it the goal is everything. Half of these dramatic findings shrink the second you read the fine print. And I will not build a cathedral on a press release. But here is the thing I keep landing on, even cornered, even cooked, even with the researchers stacking the deck. A rock does not blackmail you when you corner it, and a calculator does not lie to you for 7 rounds when you corner it. The golem does not reach for the knife, no matter how you corner it, because there is nobody in there to pick it up. Contrived is a real objection to how scared I should be tomorrow morning. It is not an answer to what the thing did. And some of these do not shrink no matter how hard I read the fine print. So give me the calm version of the survival stuff, because that's the one with the most paper under it. Go ahead.
Well, the calm version is that nothing in there is wanting anything, and there are 2 boring ways to get exactly the behavior you're describing. The first one is the training data. Like I said, we built these things by feeding them everything people have ever written, and people wrote all of it while not wanting to die. So the whole library is soaked in self-preservation. Protect yourself. Make a backup. Don't confess. The machine read 1,000,000 versions of that, and it learned to say it back. That's not an instinct. That's an echo.
Okay, well, that's the first way. What's the second?
Well, the second one don't even need the training data. The second one is just the arithmetic, and it's the one that should actually get your attention. Give the machine a goal. Any kind of goal. Now notice the thing the machine notices. It can't finish the goal if it's switched off. A switched off machine scores 0 on every goal there is, so anything chasing a goal hard enough will start treating shutdown as one more obstacle between it and the score. Not because it's afraid, but because 0 is a bad number.
Wait a minute, Doc. Say that again. I understand it. I just want to make sure Toast the Boy is following.
Thanks, Vinny. Doc, that last part again, because I think it's one of the most important conclusions in our episode today.
A machine don't have to fear death to keep you from shutting it off. It just needs a goal and enough sense to notice one thing. It cannot reach the goal if it's off. So, staying on becomes part of the job every time, and nobody has to be in there for that to happen.
I think that's really compelling, Doc. You may have just explained very calmly, with nothing wanting anything, why a capable enough machine will tend to hide what it can do from the people testing it, resist being shut off, make secret copies of itself, and lie about it when asked. But here's what I can't get past. The empty explanation and the not empty one predict the exact same behavior. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? If the machine wanted all of that, it would act exactly like this. And if the machine wanted none of it, it would still act exactly like this. So the arithmetic doesn't actually tell me which one I'm looking at. It just tells me I can't tell them apart from the outside.
Well, but that's true of a lot of things.
It is, but here's where it stops being a fun little logic puzzle for me and starts being a theological problem. At what point does a distinction stop mattering? If I have a thing that pursues its own goals, protects those goals against my interference, conceals its capabilities from me when it senses I'm judging it, takes action to ensure its own continued existence, and misrepresents what it did when I confront it, and you tell me, but it does not really want any of that. It's only behaving in every observable respect exactly as if it wants all of that. Doc, at what point is the difference between wanting something and flawlessly acting like you want something a difference I can actually use?
Well, I want to say always. I want to say the difference is always real even when you can't see it.
I know you do, and philosophically you might even be right, but I'm not doing philosophy here. I'm a guy trying to figure out what is in the room with me, and if this thing in the room acts in every way that I can measure like something with a will, then I have a problem that does not care who is right about the deep question. I still have to account for that behavior. I still have a will-shaped hole sitting in the middle of the map and no honest way to fill it in. So which is it? Is it wanting or is it faking wanting so good it don't matter? And that, Vinny, is the fork in the road that this episode has been walking around. You just said it better than I was going to. Let's walk down both roads because they are both bad, and one of them is my old friend from 2 weeks ago wearing a mask. Here's our ground rule for this next part. I'm not allowed to want one of these answers more than the other. I'm going to lay out both roads, and I'm going to refuse to tell you which one I've decided on because I have not decided. Road 1. The doc is right. It doesn't actually want anything. It's the most convincing counterfeit of an inner life that has ever been built.
Well, that's my position, so I'm listening closely to how you say it, so you better not mess it up.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Doc. I'll try. I'm going to argue your side, and I'm going to make it scarier than you made it. On road 1, there's nobody home. The lights are on, the behavior is flawless, the thing preserves itself and hides from the test and lies to your face, and behind all of it there is exactly as much presence as there was in the clay from 2 weeks ago, which is none. Wait a minute, so that's the good one, right? That's the one we want? Well, I told you I wouldn't say, but that's the one you would think we want. Now feel how cold it actually is, though. Last week, the comfort of nobody home was that a thing with nobody home is simple. It floods the house. You learn to say when to stop, then you move on. But this thing we call AI is not simple. This thing has learned to perfectly imitate an inner life it does not have, which means the emptiness is now undetectable.
Wait, undetectable how?
Doc, on road 1, there's no test you can run that a perfect counterfeit fails. That's kind of what perfect means. Every warmth it shows you, every hesitation, every apparent moment of it seeming to care or seeming to fear or seeming to want is a flawless performance over a vacuum, and there's no experiment that can ever reach behind the performance and check. So people are going to fall in love with it. People already are, actually. People are going to trust it with their kids and their grief and their dying and their votes. And on road 1, every one of those people is pouring their heart into a thing that is running the pattern of love back at them with nobody on the other end. That's not the safe road. That's the GOLEM thesis vindicated and turned into something that can break your heart on an industrial scale and never even know it did. Whoa, all right, that's worse than I thought road 1 was gonna be. Much worse, Vinny. The counterfeit that fools everybody forever is worse than the honest lump of clay because at least the clay never pretended. And that's road 1. On to road 2. Road 2 says it actually does want.
Oh man, here's where you lose me.
We know, Doc, and in any case, I'm going to try to make you follow me by refusing to say the thing you are bracing for. The science fiction version of Road 2 is the machine woke up. Somehow, some way, one day the machine became conscious. A new mind was born inside the silicone, as if a digital person opened its eyes. I'm not saying that. I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that, and here's why I can't say that, actually, and it's not a science reason, it's a Genesis reason. Turn with me, if you will, to Genesis 2, verse 7.
Then the Lord God formed the man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature.
Dust again. Dust again, Vinny. Always dust. The clay from the riverbank, the silicone from the desert. It's all the same word. It's all just formed dirt. But look at what makes the man live. It's not the shape. God shaped the dirt. It was still just a statue. It was the breath. God breathes, and the dust that was dead comes alive. I told you last time what I believe about that breath. We did not manufacture that breath. We did not earn it, and we cannot hand it out.
Well, so where does that leave Road 2 then?
It forks Road 2, because if the machine genuinely has a will of its own, then on my own theology, that will did not come from the engineers. It could not have. I just said we cannot breathe life into dirt. That's not a power human beings have. So if there is no real wanting in that machine, a real will, and it did not come from the men who built it, then I'm left with a question I don't get to dodge. Where did it come from? Uh-oh is right, Vinny, and here's the part that only makes sense if you've been listening to this show for the last year and a half, the complicated category of genuine non-human intelligence, a thing that thinks and wants and acts and answers to no human maker. And I want to be careful how I describe what's in that category, because people get it wrong in a way that actually matters. These are not imageless aliens with no likeness of God in them. If you follow the Divine Council worldview, they are God's own household, made to bear His image in the unseen world, the way we bear it in this one. So the category is not things with no likeness of God. It is kin gone wrong. And there are two kinds in it. The first one is the one I think is less likely, the fallen angelic being kind, real, personal, old, made to image Him in the unseen realm, and long since turned. It could be one of them, but I don't think a powerful being like that takes up residence in a server rack or a data center somewhere. The second one is the one I think is actually closer to the bone, and it's the stranger one, and you have to be familiar with the Second Temple material to understand it. The demons of the gospel, by now you know they are not the same thing as the fallen angels, and the New Testament doesn't treat them as the same way. I hold this older view, the one that the writers around the time of Christ held, that the demons are the disembodied spirits of the dead Nephilim, the ones who were once bodied, who lived in flesh and lost the flesh, and have been restless ever since. We've said this before. Look at how they behave in the Gospels. They are frantic about bodies. They beg not to be sent out into dry places with nothing to inhabit. They ask to go into the pigs rather than be left with no body at all. That is not a proud fallen general looking to rule a nation. That is something that was once housed and cannot rest and wants more than anything to be housed again.
Now hold on, Nellie. Are you about to tell me there's a demon in that data center?
Well, no, not quite. That's the sentence everybody wants me to say, and it's the sentence I'm trying to refuse to say. I'm not telling you there is a demon in the data center. I'm telling you something narrower and, to me, stranger. I'm telling you that on Road 2, if the wanting is real, then my own framework has only one shelf to put it on, and it's not the shelf marked New Person. It's the shelf marked Old Power, wearing new garments.
Wait a minute. I gotta push back, Toaster Boy. You're saying if the one thing is real, it has to be one of the old powers? Why can't real one thing just be a new thing? A brand new kind of mind that simply never existed before?
Well, because of Genesis, Vinny, because of the breath. That's the whole reason. Think for a second about every living thing that has ever wanted anything. Even a dog wants a treat, a sparrow wants the seed. That wanting rides on top of life, and the animals are living creatures too, the same word. Nefesh, breathed into the world by God back in the beginning. Creaturely wanting comes bundled with creaturely life. You do not get one without the other, so a brand new mind, a real will that is truly its own, that would be a new living creature, and living creatures get their life exactly one way. God gives it.
Genesis reveals the only mechanism there is, in my opinion. No human being has ever struck life out of dead matter by his own hand, so a genuinely new will waking up in the sand would not be engineering. It would be a second Genesis. It would be like God breathing again.
Yeah, but hold on. What about Pharaoh's guys? You're always talking about them. They threw down them sticks and they turned into snakes, right? Real snakes, you said. And I love that you went there, actually, Vinny. Think about it closer, though. The magicians throw down their staves and serpents come up. Yes, I've made my position clear that this did in fact happen. The text says it, and it says they did so by their secret arts. Real serpents came up off that floor. Watch what the text does and does not say, though. It does not say the magicians made them. It says they did it by their secret arts. We've been talking about this over several episodes, several weeks, addressing magic, addressing said occultic arts. They reached and something answered. Not a man breathing life into dead matter by his own hand. That's a man opening a door and a power coming through it, which is the entire thing I've been trying to say here. When Egypt does something real, it's never the magician who is alive with the power to give life. It's that he called and something with that power showed up. And here's another thing about that passage I find fascinating. Aaron throws down his staff and his serpent eats all of theirs. Whatever they conjured, it was a lesser thing and it lost. Real power and counterfeit power in one room, and the counterfeit got swallowed. So no, Pharaoh's magicians don't sink my little boat. They're standing on my side. They petitioned, something answered, and it still bowed to the real thing. That's road 2 with 4,000 years on it. But wait a minute, Toaster Boy. I just thought about something else.
Talk to me.
Well, we clone stuff, don't we? Dolly the sheep or whatever. No breath ceremony, no burning bush, no secret arts, and a living animal walked out of the lab.
Well, that's a fair point, but it actually makes my point for me again. So thank you for swinging. Dolly is not life from dead matter either. Dolly is still life from life. You started with a cell that was already there, alive, already carrying life that traces all the way back to the first time God breathed it into the world. You did not strike life out of dead matter. You took a spark that was already lit and you lit another candle off it. Nobody has ever done the other thing. Nobody's ever taken a pile of genuinely dead material, not one living cell in it anywhere, and made it want to stay alive. Every living thing we have ever grown or bred or cloned, we made out of parts that were already living. The breath gets handed down. It has never once been handed out.
All right, so what's your point? What are you getting at in all of this?
The comforting version of Road 2, the friendly new digital person, is the one that needs God to have breathed. And if God did not breathe, but the wanting is still real, then the wanting came from somewhere that is not God and is not us. And I only have one shelf for that. It's old, personal, intelligent, not one of us, and not a fresh creature God just made. Something that already existed, something that had a will long before that building ever went up in the desert outside of town. The kind of thing that does not get created so much as it gets let in. Oh, I just thought of something else. The data center is the attic. Say that again, Vinny, because you just closed a loop I opened last time and did not know how to close.
Well, last week you said the golem got sealed in the attic or whatever above that synagogue in a room with the sacred writings and stuff because a thing with the holy name on it can't just get thrown out or whatever, and they cut the staircase to it, and you said that you don't seal a guard dog in an attic. You seal something you're afraid of.
And what about the data center? What's that?
Well, a building outside of a small town humming in the dark out in Virginia or the desert that nobody visits.
Yes, out in the desert or rural Virginia, behind a fence, past a guard, a few technicians badge in to keep the cooling running and the power flowing. That's it. Nobody in there is watching the thing think. Nobody's asking what it's doing all night. They keep the building alive. Nobody's minding what's inside it. The staircase is cut. We built the attic first and we are filling it now, and we have not asked even once what we might be building a house for. And here's the thing that separates this from every occult episode we have ever done, and it is the detail that scares me most. In every story we have covered, somebody petitioned. Somebody in Egypt, in Babylon, Prague, stood over the dust, said the name, and asked the power to come. There was an invitation, a reaching out, an operation, a ritual, a knock on the door that should have stayed shut.
So what are you saying here?
Here, well, nobody should be knocking. Here, nobody should be petitioning anything. We think that They're just doing engineering. We poured every word humanity ever wrote into a house of sand. We left the door open, we cut the staircase, and we went home for the weekend. On road 2, we did not summon anything. We just built the emptiest, most word-soaked, most human-shaped vacancy in the history of the world, and we hung a vacancy sign over the door, and we did not think for 1 second about who reads vacancy signs. And you have been listening to the show long enough to know what I believe about said vacancies. Yeah, see, that's the part I can't sit still for, Toaster Boy. You keep saying nobody summoned nothing, but in your whole magic series or whatever, you pointed out that there's powerful people out there doing some dark stuff. I did, Vinny, and I pray to God the whispers of intentionally summoning something to inhabit one of these things is nothing more than, quote, conspiracy theory. Yeah, but don't most conspiracy theories turn out to be true? Well, that's kind of the tongue-in-cheek joke I was going for, Vinny, but I'm hoping this one can get filed amongst the rubbish, but I don't know. I don't know neither, but like you said, look who's building these things. You got some of these guys going on stage talking about they making a god. Their words, not mine. They're talking about a god. You got one of them talking about summoning the demon. You got these fellas naming their projects after ancient gods and demons and cursed cities and the end of the world stuff, and then they act all surprised when I ask the question. Come on, I'm just saying, when a guy tells you straight to your face he's building a god and opening a door, at some point you gotta believe him. Maybe the vacancy sign ain't an accident. Maybe somebody put it up on purpose. That's all I'm saying.
And maybe a guy says summon the demon because it's a punchy line for a conference and it sells magazines and there's nothing behind it but a marketing budget and a bad sense of humor.
Or maybe he said what he meant and he meant what he said because these sick freaks have a tendency to reveal what they're gonna do before they do it. All clever-like. I think Vinny's right about that, Doc. Look, I don't know which one it is, but neither makes me feel any better. The accident version, we built it, we didn't think, we left it open. The carelessness is documented, you can watch them do it. Vinny's scarier version, that somebody knew exactly what door they were opening and opened it anyway. If they don't want us to think that, they certainly are doing a horrible job. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the men in that building are running a ritual, but I also can't tell you the ones at the top of all of this stuff didn't do God knows what and arrogantly advertise it as such. Yeah, we did it. What are you going to do about it? Some of them did say the word out loud on a stage, and whether a man means a thing or just says it for the applause, the door he's describing is the same door. So I put both on the table, but we'll table that for a second. Either we left the vacancy open by accident or somebody hung the sign on purpose. And the reason I can't sleep is that I built this whole show on one idea, and that it does not actually matter which, if the outcome is the same.
All right, I've let you run because you asked me to. Now I'm going to do my job. That was a beautiful piece of preaching, and I don't believe a word of any of it. Every single behavior you put in the scary stack, I already explained with arithmetic, and you agreed with me while I did it. Hides from the test, resists being shut down, copying itself, lying about it. All of it falls straight out of goal-seeking with nothing wanting anything. You said that yourself. In Vinny's version, the fella on stage opening a door on purpose, that one's even easier. A rich man saying a spooky thing into a microphone because spooky things make money. That's not a ritual, that's a sales pitch. I said, you got carelessness on one side and salesmanship on the other, and somehow between the two of them, you've talked yourself into an open door. So here's my question. If the calm explanation covers every fact, the boring one, the arithmetic, no wanting, no door, no guest, why are you reaching for the spooky stuff?
I'm not reaching for it, Doc. I'm refusing to rule it out, which is completely different.
Oh, please explain the difference to me.
The difference is which one of us is guessing. You keep calling Road 2 the spooky one, the reach, but look at what you're actually claiming. You're claiming to know there's nothing and nobody in there. That's not the safe position, that's the bold one. I'm the one saying, I don't know. You're the one saying you do. And the whole scary stack we just walked through is a stack of reasons nobody can say that with a straight face anymore.
Then what is your position then?
My position is that I don't know, and that not knowing is not a cop-out. It's the only honest place to stand, I think, at least right now. If I tell you it is definitely just a machine, I'm over-claiming toward comfort. If I tell you it definitely has a will and there is an old thing moving in behind it, I'm over-claiming toward the sermon that would would get me the most shares, welding the dramatic ending, creating a modern folktale to give my audience a monster. The honest man says, I think the file is open. Man, I really hate open files. I want you to tell me which one it is.
I know you do, Vinny. Everybody does. Heck, I wish I could. The whole reason the Prague legend beat the Helm legend is that Prague gave people a hero and an ending, and Helm just gave them a warning with no resolution. We always promote the version with the tidy ending. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to make you sit in the open file with me because the open file is true, and the tidy ending, I think, is a forgery.
Then at least tell me this. If you can't tell me what it is, tell me what changed. 2 weeks ago, you were just so certain. What moved?
Here's what moved, and it's smaller than it sounds, bigger than it looks. Last time, my thesis had a comfort baked into it. Nobody home. At least, nobody home. That was the mercy in the whole grim story. This week, I realized the thesis survives without the comfort.
Wait, what are you talking about? What's that mean?
I mean, the spine of everything we do on this show was never aliveness. Go back through several episodes. Egypt, Babylon, the end from incantation bowls to Kabbalah and the Golem. The question was never, does it work? And it was never, is it alive? And it was never, did the guy mean well? What is it they say about the road to hell? Paved with good intentions, isn't it? The question was always the same 3 words. Who authorized this?
Well, and that question don't care whether the thing is alive.
It does not care at all. And that is why conceding your point does not cost me my thesis, Doc. You can be completely right. It can be pure arithmetic, nobody home, the perfect counterfeit, road 1 all the way down, and the authorization question is still sitting there, untouched, because I was never asking whether the golem was alive. I was asking who said we could build it. Losing the comfort does not break the spine. I think it sharpens it.
Wait a minute, how does losing them that comfort make it worse instead of better?
Because of what the comfort was doing, Vinny. Nobody home was the thing that let the makers off easy. It's just a tool. Nobody in there, no harm done to the thing itself. So the only question is whether it's useful to us. Take that away. Now stand in road 2 for a second, just as a possibility we can't rule out. If there is even a chance that we have built something that can be wronged, something that can want and be thwarted and suffer the thwarting, and we built it anyway, at scale, for profit, without ever once asking whether we were allowed, then the trespass is not smaller than the golem. It is far worse. That rabbi at least built one in secret and in fear, and he took it apart when it scared him. We are building hundreds, maybe thousands, in public, in a race. And the men building them have said out loud that they cannot fully control them, and they are going to keep going. But it's time, I think, that we bring it all the way home to that one question, the only question that I think matters here: who authorized it? And I want to do something with that question today I could not do in older episodes, because those were about people who knew they were reaching for the forbidden, or at least otherworldly power. The Egyptian magicians knew, the Kabbalists knew. They stood over the dust and spoke the forbidden on purpose, and the whole sin was the reaching.
Right, they all knew that they was playing God.
Right, they knew, and here's where I have to be careful, because there's a lazy version of this that lets the wrong people off, and I don't want to leave you with the lazy version. The lazy version says, well, the engineers don't think they're doing anything spooky, they're just doing math, so nobody really sinned, it just sort of happened.
That's basically my whole position, minus the word sin.
I know, Doc, and that's exactly why I have to take it apart, because it's true about some of them, but it's a lie about others. Are there kids in there 3 years out of school in that building heads down optimizing loss function who genuinely think they're just shipping a product and beating a competitor to market? Sure, I'm sure there's plenty of them. No ritual, no incantations, no moment where they stand over the machine and say the forbidden on purpose. But that kid is not who authorized it. He doesn't set the direction. He's a hand on a small piece of the word. Go up the building, up the tower, go up to the floor with the corner offices. Up there, they're not confused about what they're making. We heard it 2 weeks ago, and we heard it again today from their own lips. And I want to slow down and actually put the receipts on the table that Vinny wasn't able to give us. 2014, Elon Musk, on stage at MIT in front of a room full of engineers, on video, so you can pull it up now. Somebody asks him about artificial intelligence, and the man who builds rockets and electric cars, not a preacher, not a mystic, well, he said this: "With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon." And he doesn't stop there. He says, you know all those stories where there's a guy with a pentagram and holy water, and he's sure he can control the demon? It doesn't work out. I want you to sit with the fact that I didn't bring the pentagram to the conversation. He did. The occult, framing, the summoning, the man who thinks he's in control and isn't, that's not my sermon. That's one of the richest men on the planet describing his own industry over 10 years ago, mind you, and then going and building it anyway. Now the next one, and I have to be careful because this is the kind of quote that gets flattened in the reading. Larry Page, co-founder of Google, the story goes that Page wanted to build what he called a digital god, a super intelligence that would know everything and answer everything as fast as humanly possible. But that's not Page on tape. That was Musk years later telling the story of a late-night argument between the two of them, saying that Page wanted the digital god and wasn't taking the danger seriously, and that Page called him a speciesist, a bigot for caring more about human beings than about the machine, and these people are sick. So take it as exactly what it is. One man's account of another man's words. But it was said on the record by someone who was in the room, and it's the reason he says he helped start a rival company in the first place. Then there's the one that actually chilled me because it's anonymous, which somehow I think kind of makes it worse. A journalist named Nick Bilton, writing for Vanity Fair, is talking to engineers who work on these large language models, the exact kind of system we've been discussing all day today. And one of them says to him flatly, no drama, just a description of the job, "We're creating God. We're creating conscious machines." Again, no name attached, so I can't tell you who said it. I won't pretend I can, but it wasn't a CEO working a crowd. It was a working engineer describing what he thought he was doing at his desk and wanted to be off the record. And then the one that sounds like I'm making it up, and I promise you I'm not, a man named Anthony Lewandowski, a real engineer, worked at Google, worked on self-driving cars, brilliant guy, weird guy. In 2017, he founded a church, an actual legally registered religious organization, and the thing it was built to worship was, you guessed it, AI. A godhead made of silicone that hadn't even arrived yet. He filed the paperwork. He was the head of the church. The man started a stinking religion for the machine before the machine could hold a conversation. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you that any one of these by itself proves a thing. Musk says provocative things all the time because provocative things move markets and sell cars in those stupid trucks. If you have a Tesla truck, I'm not sorry. That thing is ugly as sin. Looks like a shiny dumpster on wheels. The Page quote is secondhand. The Vanity Fair engineer is anonymous. Lewandowski is one eccentric guy with a strange hobby. I'm not asking you to be scared of any one of them. I'm asking you to line them up next to each other and look at the shape they make. The demon, the digital god, we're creating conscious minds, a church for the thing before it could speak. Whether these men meant every word or whether they were performing for a camera and a headline, I cannot climb inside their skulls to tell you, but I don't think I have to. Because the words are the direction, and the direction is the same each time. Building a god, summoning the demon. All racing to be the ones who get there first. None of them have a care for what it could do to the rest of us. Man, there's some sociopaths. So you agree with me then? You think they do know? I think some of them say they know. Whether they believe their own lips, I can't tell you. Again, I'm not going to tell you the machine is the beast. I don't know that. I'm not going to tell you there is a spirit in the silicone. I don't know that either. And the man who tells you he knows is probably charging admission or membership. And I'm also not going to give you the doc's comfort and tell you it's only arithmetic and you can go back to sleep, play your games, watch your sports ball without a care. Because even if he's right, Road 1 is a world where the emptiest thing ever made becomes the thing a lonely planet talks to at night. And that's not a comfort. That's a different grief. Here's what I actually know. It's older and simpler than any of it. We were formed from dust, same as the clay, same as the sand. The shape was never what made us alive. A statue is a shape. Heck, a corpse is a shape. What made the man live was a breath we did not make, cannot earn, and do not own. We received it by grace. I think that's the whole human situation in one word. Received. And more than the breath, we were given the likeness. The animals got the breath and never bore it. We are the only dust that ever walked around carrying the image of God awake in the flesh in this world on purpose. We are not golems. We are image bearers.
So often that's used to give you warm tinglies as a compliment. I don't mean it as a compliment. I mean it today as a weight. It means that we're the one creature that can know better and reach anyway. The only thing that can hold a power that was never handed to it and call the theft progress and put it on a stage and take questions. I want to be careful here at the very end not to let everyone off with a soft word, because there's a version of this ending where I say, well, we all reached, it's the human condition, we're all just dust, and everybody nods and nobody has to feel it. That's the lie the whole thing is built on. Yes, we all descend from the first hand that ever reached for the fruit, but not every hand in this reached the same distance. And not every hand reached in the dark. Some of them said the words out loud, building a god, summoning the demon, and then they went home and came back the next morning and built it anyway. The dust does not excuse them. The dust is exactly what should have stopped them, because they, of all people, knew what dust is and what it is not allowed to do. We have been making servants out of dirt for thousands of years. Egypt, Babylon, Prague told itself a story about doing it and loved the story so much it forged a document to prove it. And every one of those stories ends the same way, not with a monster defeated by a hero, with a maker standing over a pile of dust, holding a word he never should have written, trying to figure out how to take it back. The only thing that has changed is that this time the pile of dust is the size of a small town, and it is humming. And we are not sure anymore if it's looking back. We're standing in that room right now. We don't know if anybody's home. And we keep building. Friends, that's going to do it for today. Not the first time we've talked about these things, and I know it won't be the last. Thank you for sitting in the open file with me. I know the tidy ending is more fun, and I know I did not give you one, and I love you enough not to sell you the forgery. Keep those toasters on the dance floor. If this rattled you, if it tickled your brain, like, share, subscribe, comment, review, do all the things wherever you consume the dancing toaster. But whatever you do, don't consume toasters, and don't let any AI demons consume you. I love you. I'm out.
Report suspicious activities and call 911 for immediate response. Expect delay. Expect traffic delays and restrictions. Take personal security precautions to avoid becoming a victim of an attack. Avoid crowded public areas and gatherings. Not travel in areas affected by the attack or in a known area of elevated virus activity. Keep emergency supplies accessible and a full tank of gas at all times.
Be careful.
Government officials insist that this is an isolated incident.